Hi everybody, Pastor Mark here. On October 25th, we're going to start a new sermon series titled Enough, Discovering Joy Through Simplicity and Generosity. It's based on this little book by Adam Hamilton. Hopefully you've got your copy already. You'll be invited to follow along as I preach this series for 4 weeks. This is a remarkable and frightening time right now in our country as we face an economic crisis. When we can't trust our financial institutions or the stock market, the banks, the government, we tend to become afraid, and that fear often leads to cynicism or panic. Indeed, an economic crisis is also a crisis of faith for many people. This may be the most potent enemy that we face today. When a nation was in the midst of the Great Depression in 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt spoke these famous words at his first inaugural address. Listen, "Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. In every dark hour of our national life, a leadership of frankness and vigor has met with that understanding and support of the people themselves, which is essential to victory." It's not a question of if, but a question of when our stock market will recover, when our economy will be doing better. When we look back at past economic trends, when we look back at times when our economy was in a slump, we find that only in a matter of years it has rebounded, and rebounded mightily. While we wait for that rise, we have to face the economic reality that many people are out of jobs. We face the reality that some people are having to sell their homes, some people are having to sell their cars because they simply cannot make the payments anymore. Some may need to turn to the church for help, or other government agencies when they've not had to seek help ever before. Others may seem to have no realization of the economic crisis. They may not be affected at all. But we as the church have a responsibility to speak out and to live our faith in a real way, realizing that our hope is in something more than finances. Yes, we live in a world that depends upon finances, and our homes depend upon finances, but we depend most on God. At the center of our economic crisis is the extension and abuse of credit. Credit comes from the Latin word credo, which means I believe or I trust. When we extend credit, we believe and trust that someone will pay us back. The same goes for when the bank extends credit to us. But as Christians, our trust is in God. The Apostles' Creed, for instance, begins, I believe, credo, I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth. Throughout the Bible, we find wonderful words of strength and assurance that God is our refuge and our help in time of need. The current economic crisis is a spiritual issue stemming from at least 5 of the 7 deadly sins: gluttony, greed, sloth, envy, and pride. People are anxious all around us, but we are to be beacons of hope, helping people see that with God there is enough. With God we can all find enough. The church, the body of Christ, is to be a beacon of light, inviting people to find deliverance, redemption, salvation, hope, and a new way of life. So I hope you'll join us in these coming weeks as we discover that God is enough. Perhaps you have friends or family members who are really struggling right now with a financial crisis. Perhaps they're unemployed or facing the reality of having to sell their house or sell their car. I hope that you'll invite them to come worship with us as we all realize that God is enough and that together we can make it. I hope you'll join us. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.